Welcome back to Valley Focus. I'm Valerie Moore, and I have a whole studio full of guests today for a great cause. We welcome Hale Doherty, Public Relations Director and Aerialist for the GasLight Circus. Hello. Also, Jero Keenan.
Keenum. You can also call me Jero the Jester, if that helps.
Okay.
That's the stage name.
Owner of the GasLight Circus, clown juggler, etc. We've got Jim Eiler in here. We've got a couple of other friends and folks that are associated with this. It's a great big undertaking to support veterans. So first of all, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it. Let's start off with you, Hale, as the Public Relations Director for this event and for this group. Tell me how you got involved.
I actually got involved with the GasLight Circus through my good friend Jero here. We both met at the Arizona Renaissance Festival, and about a year and a half ago, he came to me with the idea and said, "Oh my gosh, guess what? I want to start my own circus." And this was way long before anything was actually acted upon, this idea. But about 6 months later, I started taking aerial classes, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
Well, you're in fine shape. What else do you do?
I also work at the Arizona Renaissance Festival, as I mentioned. I sew my own costumes, and I love going to comic conventions.
So you're a gal of all trades. And Jero over there, how'd you get the idea? How'd you get involved in all this?
That's getting involved in all of it. Started just going to the Renaissance Festival as a kid. Saw juggling act for the first time and said, I want to do that for a living. And over time, worked at it, trained at it, and eventually turned it into a solo career where I performed for multiple different circus troupes throughout Arizona. And a little time, about a year and a half ago, I decided I think I want to go into business for myself and open my own circus. And here we are.
So a couple of very artistic characters here that are putting together a new event. I also want to say before we go any further, we've got a lot of other guests in the studio. Introduce the other guests that we have here. Not on mic, maybe they'll chime in, but tell us who else is here with you today.
Well, the other one that is here is Finn the Fool, who's a mime. That's right, I brought a mime to a radio show.
And I asked her a couple of questions, and I didn't, I figured it out after a couple of
6
questions.
minutes. I realized, oh, she doesn't talk, okay. But she is a illusionist, she's also a juggler, she's an escape artist, and she is overall one of the stronger personalities in the circus as far as the kids' direction go. When it comes to our younger audiences, they sort of gravitate in her direction because she's vibrant, colorful, and a very, very pleasurable person to have on stage.
Absolutely. Next to her is your Grandma Hale, and then the fifth person in this, or actually sixth because I'm here too, person in this crowded studio is Jim Eiler. We're going to talk a little bit about him in just a moment because he is your connection here to the event that you're doing, if I'm correct.
Benefactor, more like it, actually.
All right, so again, we've got a bunch of folks in here representing the GasLight Circus. And tell me a little bit about that circus then, Jero.
So GasLight Circus started as a simple concept after doing several years as a solo performer in the circus community. I noticed that a lot of the troupes run the same way. They run very similar formats, and they take out a lot of key variables that make a show entertaining. They just kind of do one act, then the next, whereas GasLight Circus brings in a more theatrical sense to what we do, because so many of us communicate in the realm of theater as well, especially if you bump elbows with anyone at the Renaissance Festival, decided to go beyond just circus and bring in a theatrical cast as well as their fan bases to create a show that not only does a great circus show but also tells a story, which is kind of a lost art in most of the realms of circus in Arizona especially.
And most of the acts at the Renaissance Festival have to have kind of a cultural theatrical tie-in somehow. So
a little bit of flair, yeah.
Yeah, well that's great. So you got the idea to get this circus together, and now you've got an event coming up, and we want to first of all talk about the charity that you're having this event for.
Yes. The Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans. Do you want to go ahead and take on that?
And Hale, why don't you take it away and tell us about that group?
So Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans is an incredible organization because it's really addressing helping veterans from a point of view that isn't really addressed in the mainstream media or any of the larger programs like Wounded Warriors. Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans really focuses on the elements of reintegration that most veterans just don't get when they come home. And so what they want to do is actually set up coffee shops and a Veterans Wellness Center that is all about getting veterans jobs back in the civilian world and really being able to reconnect with civilians and live a normal life without having to suffer from PTSD, moral injury, or any of these other really complicated and harmful issues.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many veterans and veterans groups I've had on this program that have talked about that reintegration issue and the fact that here we are, now what? And so this is the next step to helping these gentlemen and ladies find the next step in connections. And I think that rather than just handing someone a check or an item or an apartment or anything like that, helping them connect to others is really what they're looking for many times.
And I found coffee shops to be really brilliant idea because there's no place that you really see the best and worst of humanity in sales than at a coffee shop.
But they're also not intimidating for someone to come to.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a great idea. So with that in mind, you're having an event, and that is coming up this Saturday. Tell us about that.
So the event is the first annual Carnival Ball. The overall goal is that every year the GasLight Circus would come together, take all of its resources in both the circus, theatrical, and even the musical community, and create one show where nobody gets paid. All the money from the show goes out to a charity chosen every year. And this first inaugural year, we've chosen Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans.
Well, it's a perfect time of year because the weather forecast looks great. You're going to have a great venue, a lot of people in town, maybe for other things or events. And so let's talk a little bit about that exact event. It's going to be at what time?
The doors open at 8 o'clock. The show starts at 9.
And it's going to be at?
The All-One House off of 12th Street in Roosevelt.
Tell us what that is exactly.
The All-One House is probably where I got my career took off. And it's kind of where a lot of young artists that have the right connection can go to and get a show off the ground or perform somewhere or just get their feet wet in terms of finding their audience with how they perform. Almost every circus troupe I've worked with has come and gone through the All-One House at some point in time. Only difference with me is I keep coming back because I have this weird love-hate relationship with the owners. I love them and they hate me. So
I'm sure that's not true. So it's a theatrical venue. It is called the All-One House and is on 12th Street and Roosevelt in Phoenix. Easy to get to. What kind of parking is there?
There is a large dirt lot right next to the All-One House that'll lead around to a front door to take you through the photo gallery that is the house itself, and then in the back is the garden venue where we perform.
Well, this sounds like an interesting, fun thing to do this coming Saturday evening. What time is it again?
9 o'clock.
And is it a family-friendly event?
Yes, it is, including the art exhibit in the house itself. We're actually the closing show of their steampunk season. So the inside of the house has all kinds of Victorian-era steampunk artwork and photography that anyone can enjoy on the way in.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be a great time. Is there an admission cost?
It is $12 a head.
Okay. And is there a website to find out more?
Find out more, you can find out more at theallonehouse.org. You can also find the GasLight Circus on Facebook.
Okay, so again, we're speaking with a couple of representatives of the GasLight Circus, Hale Doherty and Jero Keenum, who started this, got this together. They have a lot of different roles they fulfill in your circus. Tell me a little bit about it, Hale.
So I am both the Public Relations Director and the aerialist. I am currently studying political science and public relations at Barrett, the Honors College at Arizona State University. And it's really great that my first real experience in the business world and with public relations is with an amazing troupe like the GasLight Circus. And when I'm not doing PR, I am the aerialist, and I prefer to do aerial silks, which is the one with the great big long 17 yards of fabric.
Oh, I love that.
20 feet up in the air, basically doing a ton of push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and crunches
and all that.
And anything you can think of
up
in the air.
You're in terrific shape, so thank you for getting in shape and helping out with this and embracing this. This is kind of an on-hands experience then for you as you go about your studies. That's good and all. That's wonderful, but you're actually getting your hands on here into doing an event and being part of this business.
Yeah, you can't, there's no better way to learn than to just dive right in. And that's one of my firm beliefs of why I don't want to go to grad school is I can learn more working with GasLight Circus than I can learn by getting my master's degree.
Hands-on, absolutely. And doing things for others, which is also part of the mission statement that you have in coming here today, and that you are doing something charitable for a group, again, these veterans helping veterans. Jero, what can we expect to see at your circus?
At this particular show, you can expect a full-on circus show that follows a storyline that we're currently still writing. It'll also have live music by the first ever performance by the GasLight Band. We're going to have carnival games, face painting, balloon animals. There's the art exhibit I previously mentioned, as well as a raffle, various prizes. And there's a bar, there is a snack bar, I believe, and overall just a massive show.
So again, these folks from the GasLight Circus are putting on a benefit event this coming Saturday evening. That's May 21st, 9 o'clock at the All-One House, 12th Street in Roosevelt. What's the name of your event?
called the Carnival Ball.
The Carnival Ball. So should folks dress up? Is it casual? What do you recommend? Can they dress up and maybe kind of live out their fantasies if they want it to be?
If they, we do advertise that they can. We don't make it like mandatory or anything, but we are totally okay with people dressing up and just being as dapper as possible and coming with like it's an actual charity ball, which we hope one day it could actually maybe even turn into.
And it's 9 o'clock in the evening. Now that's not probably a good time for real little kids, but if you have older kids, maybe teenagers, preteens,
Right.
and they want to really experiment with their own designs and ideas of how they want to look, that's going to be a fun evening for them to express themselves too.
And even then, we have little kids show up anyway. We have like 5 to 7-year-olds regularly show up at the front row of our
It's
shows.
Saturday night, I guess it's okay. Yeah.
Not a school night.
Right, right. So we're going to see this great event coming up 9 o'clock this Saturday evening. But I want to go back a little bit and talk about your experiences at the Arizona Renaissance Festival. In case people have seen you there, I'm sure you're kind of celebrities. So
Possibly.
tell me what you did out there, Hale, this year.
I am what we at the fair call a joust bunny. We are the lovely cheerleaders who man the front lines down at the joust. We're in charge of the pre-joust entertainment, getting the crowds riled up, and being crowd control, which definitely was an important thing this year.
Well, of course, we always go to that. That's one of the main events, of course, to see the joust. And we always are amazed by the joust bunnies. First of all, because they're standing in that direct sunlight. They're dealing with a loud, unruly crowd. They're keeping order, and they look pretty good, too. You looked amazing. So I did come and see it, and I have seen you there. So now I kind of jogged my memory when you came in and remembered that. And that was a great time this year. Hot again, not as hot quite as last year, but I think it turned out to be a very successful event this year. Yeah. And Gerald, what did you do this year at the festival?
I performed for my second straight year on one of the festival's 13 performance stages. The Royal Pavilion, I have a show called Jesting with Jerome. The show includes bringing people on stage and seeing if they have what it takes to be a true Renaissance jester and try to out-funny me.
Wow, so there's audience participation in that.
It's about 90% audience participation.
Are you going to do any of that in your circus this Saturday?
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, we're talking about this circus ball, is it?
The Carnival Ball.
The Carnival Ball that is coming up this Saturday evening, May 21st, at the Alwyn House, 12th Street in Roosevelt. We're talking today with Hale Doherty and Gerald Keenum, who are very much a part of this circus, GasLight Circus, that is going to be putting this on. But again, it's for a charitable event. It is for veterans, helping veterans. And if someone is just joining us now, which they might be doing, tell us once again, Hale, what that is.
Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans is a locally run charity that is all about helping veterans reintegrate into civilian life.
And how did you get involved with that organization? How did you hear about it?
We actually learned about Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans through the Renaissance Festival. We had a lot of, what?
It never ends.
It
Every
never ends.
connection
It
to the
never
festival.
ends.
The
All of our
connections.
connections and all of our starts are from the Renaissance Festival. We love it. But we had a couple new performers come in this year who were very active in the organization, and it was Michelle Shaw who got us introduced to this organization. And when we were talking about what to do, we really wanted to work with veterans, and it was just perfect timing,
Tailor-made.
stroke of luck that we met her and she could introduce us to this fabulous group.
Well, we've got a crowded studio again. We've got Jim Eiler over standing in the corner. Maybe you want to get on mic and just introduce yourself here. I know that you are going to be coming on with a show next week for us. So a little preview of the show that is going to feature exclusively your group. Again, tonight we're doing the circus that is helping you out. But if you don't mind giving us just a couple of words about what you have to do with all this.
Well, my name's Jim Eiler, President, Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans. I started this business, the charity, in order to mitigate veteran suicide. And the main concern that I identified was that veterans weren't reintegrating back into civilian life. We have a difficult time moving on and letting go of a certain foundational camaraderie that we find in military life. And so my goal is to help veterans kind of move on, reintegrate back into society, and learn how to work side by side with civilians, give them back their pride.
Now, are you a veteran yourself?
I am. I served in the Army for 7 years. I spent 2 years in Iraq. I was part of the Operation Red Dawn Objective Wolverine, which was the capture of Saddam Hussein. And I'm a Purple Heart recipient. Yeah.
Well, thank you for what you've done. We have a military hero in our studio today. I want to say freedom isn't free. Thank you for what you've done. God bless America, and God bless you for going through this. And thank you that when you did come back, you didn't just go on, but you remembered your brothers and sisters back there and what they are going through. How hard was it for you when you got back?
It was very difficult for me. When I got back when I got out of the military, I ended up moving to Rio de Janeiro for 2 years, trying to find myself. And then when I ended up moving back here to the United States, I went to school for philosophy, and that's kind of where I majored in philosophy of ethics, and that kind of got my mind rolling on needing to do something more than simply writing and not doing much.
And I think that also helps you come to closure with what you've been through by seeing other people kind of come to closure and move on, because there's that never land of, I think, when people come back, they're still caught in the old trying to get into the new and they can't quite move forward. So you came up with this idea. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Is that just local here in Phoenix? How far do you extend then, your parameters?
We service all of the Phoenix Valley. However, we do have affiliates in Prescott, down in Tucson. I'm working with Dr. Laura Howard down at U of A, where I got my degree.
We'll forgive you for being a while. We're all sun devils up here, but that's okay.
So yeah, I'm working with her in order to launch an applied ethics program where people can learn about philosophy of ethics, and then not only learn about philosophy of ethics, but figure out how to apply their degree
to real life.
To real life, exactly. Do basically what I did with Arizona Veterans Helping Veterans.
Well, thank you. It's an inspiring story. We thank you for joining this group here today. We're going to have you on separately next time, so our listeners can look forward to hearing more about your group at a future time. Right now, we got some other heroes here who are putting on some circus shows to benefit your organization. So thank you again for joining us. We're going to get back over here to Jero and talk a little bit more about this event that is coming up. Who came up with the idea for this type of venue and event? Can we thank Hale for that over here?
That one was actually me. I'm going to be selfish. That one was me. However, as far as getting it off the ground and getting people to hear about it, that's all Hale.
Okay.
Most of the time when we need to promote something, I let Hale loose, and she just runs wild with it. The last time we were at the Alwyn House back in April, I didn't even have to ask. All of a sudden I get a message from her saying, hey, good morning Arizona, wants to do a 2-part live set with us. So we did that, and then
big stars you are.
We did that. We rehearsed a little bit. We went home, and then an hour and a half later, she calls me again. Fox 10 wants to do a piece at 7 the same day, without even trying. She's making us famous.
Oh, there was lots of trying.
Wow.
There was lots of trying.
You don't show it at all.
Well, you're a very eloquent young man for being dressed up like a clown today.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to look at you and also
I know.
and speak to you at the same time. But no, it's great. You're going to be going to a performance or something after this tonight.
Yeah, we have
after this. So
today.
thank you. In any case, we want to once again talk to you about this event. It's Hale Doherty, Public Relations Director and aerialist for the GasLight Circus, Jera Keenan, who's also the owner and the kind of mastermind behind it. They came up with this idea to have a benefit circus, and it is called, again, the Carnival Ball. That is coming up this Saturday, May 21st at the Alwyn House, 12th Street and Roosevelt, 9 o'clock this Saturday evening. And we're going to be able to have free parking right there. It's family friendly. Bring your family and friends in. It's $12. Is that adults and kids? Do you have any special? Okay, $12
I think
for
some
everybody.
kids get in free under 7. I think a few of them under. I think 7 under might get in free.
Okay, we'll hold you to that, but we'll let people come in
Yeah.
and find that out then. Or they can get online, actually, if they want more information. alwynhouse.org, that is ALWUN House, HOUSE.org, which is this theatrical venue which is hosting it. So thank you to them, too, because I'm sure that you had to go through a few things to get this all organized and get into places. A lot of hands that have to get into helping to make an event like this come to pass. So, again, give us the exact details one more time of your event.
The exact details of the event, it's called the Carnival Ball. It's the first annual one. We're hoping we can do this every year. It's an annual circus charity ball that will benefit one different charity every year, possibly some repeats down the road, but it's going to feature a theatrical circus show, carnival games, live music, food, drinks, and a raffle.
And that's all happening to benefit, again, Jim Eiler's group over here, veterans helping veterans. So again, a great collaboration. We thank you all for coming in here today. Again, thank you, Hale Doherty and Jared Keenum, and all the rest of the group in here. Thank you. We got to applaud.
Thank
We've got
you.
a full studio today, and we thank you all of you taking part in helping this important event come to pass. Best wishes to you. Good luck. Hope everybody gets on board and supports it. Come back again. And again, we look forward to talking to you in the future, Jim Eiler. So thank you all for coming in today. Good luck. God bless.
Thank you so much.